Hi everybody, and welcome to Southborough Connects. I know it's been a while since we've been on, but we're starting some new programs. We hope to be on twice a month now, and we have three main goals. One is to really bring you some information about what's going on in town at the town hall and with town government in general. We really think that's important to keep folks updated on that. The second one is to bring in individuals from this town and surrounding towns who can help seniors particularly age better in place. So we have a variety of guests lined up to be able to do that. And lastly, we want to keep you up to date with what's going on at the Senior Center. We have some new programs in the works. We have some new people there. There really is a lot of interesting things going on, and we want to make sure you can stay up to date with that and also introduce you to some of the new people at the Senior Center. So that's what's coming up. Right now we have a select board member with us, Kathy Cook. Hi, Kathy.
Hello, Doug.
She's going to be our first one to give us an update, sort of looking ahead for the first quarter or so, what's going on in town that people really need to know about. So why don't you just introduce yourself a little bit, tell us a little bit about you, how long have you been in town, how long you've been on the board, that type of thing.
So hello, Doug. So I'm Kathy Cook. I have been on the select board since 2022.
Okay.
Prior to the select board, I spent most of my town volunteer work on the advisory committee. I am an accountant, so the advisory committee, as everyone knows, is our town finance committee. So I basically learned about the town government through my work on that committee. Then in 2022, there was a couple of issues that we were having trouble getting solved at the select board level, so I thought I could help with those and decided to run. Okay. I thought it'd be one term. I promised my husband one term, but I did run for the second term, so this is the start of my second term. So I will, by the time this is up, I will have been on the select board 6 years.
Oh, good. So, how long have you been in town?
My husband and I moved here in 1990. Interestingly, because his company actually built a building on Route 9 called Chipcom. Chipcom was an Israeli-backed company that put together or built the first cable box for the internet. So it really kind of made the internet go. So it was a very high-tech company that was located in Southborough. So we moved here. I worked at the Hancock Tower, so I did the commute. He got to have no commute.
Oh, good. So. But you work in town now? I mean, in Southborough.
I do. So I've had my own practice in Southborough since 1998 at 132 Turnpike Road.
Very good. So what's going on in town that we need to know about?
So there's always something going on.
There's always
There's
something.
never a dull moment. Let me say this. You never know what's going to be on the other end of a phone call. But the main focus right now, always at this time of the year, is the budget for fiscal year 27. You know, the town, like the state and other municipalities, is on a fiscal year ending June 30th. So we work on the budget for the first part of the year. We go to town meeting in April, try to get the budget passed, and then it's effective July 1st. So the budget is a big thing on everyone's minds right now. We met with the capital committee last night, capital improvement committee last night, to basically look at the capital plan that they put together. We didn't vote on anything. It basically was to show us everything that people have requested and what it looks like money-wise. So we got that last night. We will incorporate that into our budget summit, which takes place on January 24th at 9 o'clock at the Public Safety Building, if anyone's interested.
So anybody can come to the summit?
Yeah. And we meet with not every department. We meet with the larger departments because that's what really makes the budget go. You know, the small departments, it's not that they're not important, but their budget does not drive the budget.
Right.
It's the DPW, the police, the fire, schools for sure. Schools are by far the biggest cost to the town. So we meet with those starting at 9 o'clock. So yeah, of course, anybody's welcome to come.
Okay.
And then advisory will be there with the select board. And then after everyone's done, we'll talk about where we kind of think things are. Things always start off looking horrible. And then we try to ratchet them back to get to something that we think is appropriate and palatable to the town.
Okay. So this is a very intricate process.
Oh, it is.
It really takes a lot of time.
It does.
So
it does, Doug.
What's your estimate of time? How often do you meet anyway as a select board? Your regular meetings are
We have a regular meeting schedule of twice a month, first
Okay.
and third Tuesdays of every month.
Okay.
And then we add meetings as need be. For example, we're going to meet 4 times in January. We met last night.
Yeah.
We're going to meet the first 3 Tuesdays, and then the budget summit, so that'll be 4 times, so at least 4. Sometimes we have emergencies, so we have to have an emergency meeting
Right.
called to vote on something quickly that can't wait to the next meeting.
Mhm.
So at least 2, usually more, because things pop up in between.
Yeah, that's a lot.
It is.
That's
It
a
is.
lot.
It is. Yeah. I've been chair before the select board. The chair spends more time than anybody. I will say that. So that's even add hours. But I'd say it's at least for just select board probably 15 to 20 hours a week that I spend
Wow.
on the average. Then you add the select board on top. I know Andrew Dennington has spent a great amount of hours the last 3 days on a couple of things going on. So the chair even spends more time.
With
So
more
it is a
time.
lot of time.
It is. It's a big commitment.
It is.
Yeah, so we really appreciate that because it's.
Yeah, yeah.
I know when we get to town meeting, we don't always,
No.
it's, appreciate what all the work that goes on behind the scenes.
It's like life. Unless you walk in someone's shoes, you really don't know,
Right.
right? So no, it is a lot of time, and I can say that everyone I've served with on the select board so far has put the time in. There's no
Mhm.
one that just, mails it in. So everybody has always
Oh,
spent the
that's good.
time to do. We don't always agree, which is fine. That's why you got 5 members, right? So you can get different opinions on
Right.
things. But everyone has that I've worked with in my 4 years has definitely put the time in
good.
to do the homework, to read everything, to be prepared. You can't just show up at the meeting and think you're going to learn everything. You got to come in prepared so you know what to.
What's going on.
Yep, what's going on and what people are going to say.
So can you talk about some of the big things that are going on in the budget? Like, we know that there's a Neary school issues that are coming up.
Yep, so I do want to talk about
Okay.
Neary, schools
Okay.
in general. But let me start with roads, because
Okay.
everybody cares about roads. We all
yes.
drive on the roads. We know that roads,
Yeah.
especially in New England, are hard to maintain because
Right.
of the snow and ice. So everybody remembers that a few years ago we did a very big project downtown called the Main Street Project that the state, for the most part, paid for. That project, we also had to contribute quite a bit of money, and it basically took our local road money for a few years. So we got behind with repairing roads. So we're now trying to catch up. So last night's meeting was focused in large part on what to do about roads. So right now it looks like there is a general agreement, still have to vote on it. So and remember, I'm one person, not 5, to ask the town to approve a large bond at our annual town meeting in April that will then let our DPW head, Bill Cundiff, proceed as fast as he can with the roads that have been identified that need work, which is a lot.
Yeah.
He's got the roads all laid out. We've done a study. We hired
Right.
a company. We know what needs to be done. So
I've
we've
seen
got
that study.
yeah,
It's really impressive.
It is. It is. And it says we need to spend about $14 million on roads.
Wow.
So the bond, we've got to decide on the amount. It could be 20 million, it could be 25 million. It won't all be spent at one time because you can only do so much. But at least gives him the money to do it as fast as he can and not have to wait for each year's appropriation. The state gives us money too, but then we have to fund a lot of it too. So we get money from the state, it's called Chapter 90, but then we also have to use our tax money to fund a lot of
Okay.
it too. So roads are a big priority right now. And on top of roads, there are 4 sets of sidewalks that we would
Yeah.
like to see put in. Richards Road, Woodland, Parkerville Road, and Oak Street.
Oh.
So the design has been done for those, so we're hoping as part of this process, we're also going to add badly needed sidewalks to Southborough.
Oh, good.
Both of those things should interest everybody. We all drive on roads, we all like sidewalks. I don't think there's anybody who's going to say, I don't want a sidewalk, right? We need
Right.
sidewalks to walk on. So it won't get us everything we need as far as the sidewalks go, but it's a start, right? To try
Yep.
to add more sidewalks to the town. So that's a big thing that I believe will be on the warrant for this annual town meeting.
Okay. Good.
And the annual town meeting is going to be, just to get that out there, April 11th.
Okay.
Okay,
Yep.
all right.
What's next?
Okay, next is, let me jump to Costco real quick, because that's
Okay.
big news.
Yeah.
So as everyone knows, there was a big vote last September
Right.
to change our zoning in a way that would allow Costco to be built at what we call the Dell EMC land on Route 9. So I can report now the lease is signed with Costco. It's done.
Really?
Yep, got a lease signed, so now they're getting ready to start the permitting process with the local officials and the state to be able to start building very soon. The hope is that they will be open for customers July of 27. That's the
Okay.
last date I was given
Wow.
by the developer, which is Atlantic Management.
That's really good news.
That is good news.
Yeah.
I mean, you got to get a lease signed, right? For, it's one thing to
Yeah.
say they're coming, but now the lease is signed, so there's a
Right.
legal
Wow.
obligation here. They want to be here. They're
Yeah.
pretty excited about it. So that is good news, right?
Yeah.
Yep. So good news.
Yeah.
More commercial real estate taxes, which is what we need.
Absolutely.
Okay, schools. As everyone who's watching this probably knows, we have a very old school, Neary School. We brought a project forth last May that failed fairly significantly to build a new 4th-grade school on the same location in closed-fin school.
Right.
So that failed. So now we're trying to figure out what to do to solve what I call the Neary problem. Neary is 53 years old and has lots of building issues. It's
Right.
safe. Let me make sure that's clear. It's safe, but something's got to be done to Neary, one way or the other. So we are contemplating, it's not finalized yet, contemplating a special town meeting on March 2nd
Okay.
to bring forth 3 or 4 different choices as far as what we could do for a project. So it's not voting on the project itself,
Right.
it's to get the money to go look at 4 projects,
Oh, okay.
bring them back as far as what we think the cost would be, which was one of the primary drivers of the failed vote was the cost. Bring them back and then let the town meeting decide which one of those projects they would like to pursue. So it's kind of a 2-step process.
Wow.
So this would just be to approve the funding to hire the architectural firm or consulting firm to help us design those 4 projects and cost them out so we could bring the design and the cost back and let people decide which one of the 4 they would prefer. So
Okay.
that's March 2nd. Now I say tentative. Select Board has a meeting next Tuesday where we're going to talk about this.
Okay.
So right now it's scheduled. We're going to talk about it. So it's tentative. So there may be some discussion Tuesday that will change what our plans are as far as the time and date of that meeting.
Well, it's all close between March and April
It
too,
is.
getting everything all
It is,
ready.
but the reason we didn't want to do it all in April is
Right.
because this is such a big discussion. We
Yeah.
thought we're going to just prolong that April meeting. So we just
Right.
wanted April to be the normal annual town meeting and this to be a separate discussion because the school decision is so important to people.
Yeah, as we know, we had so many people at
That's right.
that meeting
That's right.
that you could never have done that at the town meeting.
That's right.
So how you'll have to have a plan too to get this information out to people, right?
Yep.
Before that.
And we will. We
Okay.
will. So a lot will get finalized, I think, on Tuesday as far as whether we've got the date right. We want to
Okay.
do it then. We want to do it at a different date. Whether we want 3 projects, 4 or 5 projects looked at, and how we go about it. So this is still in process. I'm just saying,
Yep.
everybody watch. There might be a special town meeting March 2nd to discuss potential projects
Okay.
and get the money to go look at those projects, right? And so the projects that we believe people want to look at are, number 1, completely rehabbing Neary School.
Okay.
2-grade school, where it is now, just taking what's there and fixing it.
Okay.
But fixing it in a way that it's going to last for a long time, not just doing something quick
Right.
and dirty, not just doing the roof, which is really needed to be done
Right.
now. Second is to build a 4-grade school at Finn, so take what's at Finn and expand it to 4 grades, and don't really know what that looks like. It's
Right.
not really built to add a second story, so you may have to go horizontal and not vertical, but TBD, right? And the third one, and this is one that a lot of people that voted against the project in May seem to want to be looked at, which is add 1 grade at Trotter, 1 grade at Finn, and just close Neary.
Oh.
So you'd have 3 schools instead of 4. So a lot of people wanted us to at least flush that one out
Okay.
and see if it works. So those are the 3. The school committee has approved those 3 as far as meeting their educational requirements.
Okay.
The school committee, people sometimes get this mixed up. School committee controls the buildings, the education, the grade configuration, et cetera. That's not town meeting that does that. That's
Right.
the school committee
Okay.
and what they decide to do, right? The people you vote for school committee. Then town meeting approves the money. They've got the purse, right?
Right.
So you got to have both sides saying
Right.
yes before you get to an answer.
Right.
One side says no, it doesn't go anywhere. So
Right.
you got to get both sides together and end up with a project that's going to solve what I call the Neary problem.
So while you were doing yours, the school committees have been working on really trying to understand if these are going to be good educational environments for the
They
kids.
have. They spent the summer. So we formed a new committee
Okay.
after the vote failed in May
Okay.
called the K through 8 that looked at all the work we've done and came forth with basically just a matrix that showed what projects should work. The school committee was involved in that. They basically gave the green light to certain projects, right? So the projects we're talking about studying, the school committee has approved. They've said,
Okay.
yeah, we can approve those. Those do meet our education standards, so we would approve costing those out and seeing where that goes.
Okay. Are there any other big capital projects in the works right
Those
now?
are two pretty big ones, Doug.
Those are two big ones, I know. I didn't, so the Rose and the and Neary. That's a
So
lot
as
of
far
money.
as what we saw last night, each department has kind of what I call normal ask. We always need new police cars every year. We
Right.
need, DPW always needs some new equipment. So every department had their, what I call normal request on there. So there wasn't anything else huge
Okay.
as far as that. But, a $25 million bond for the roads, we've never done that.
Right.
The school, I'll just give you a huge range of numbers, could be 15 million to 100 million, depending on which one you
Wow.
choose, right? So those are both huge asks for a town that is as small as,
As
we
we
are.
are.
Yeah, so that's what the problem is here.
We
got 10,000 people, right?
Right.
And the costs are fixed, and so anything you do has a pretty big impact on taxes because we've got such a small base to spread it out over, which is why we're so anxious to
About-
increase that commercial tax base to
Right.
have a bigger denominator
Yeah.
to put those taxes over.
Yeah. Well, good.
Yep. So those are big ones. It's just amazing what it costs to build municipal buildings. We
Yeah.
are subject to what's called prevailing wage laws in Massachusetts. They're not quite union wages, but they're pretty close to it.
Right.
So we've got to pay those to build buildings. So we're talking about $1,100 a square foot to build a building.
Wow.
You can build most houses for a lot less than that, right?
Yeah.
Even really nice houses. So
Yeah.
it's very expensive to build a building in the state of Massachusetts
Right.
because you've got all these rules you've got to comply with.
And it has to be ADA compliant.
It does.
And it has to
Absolutely.
meet all those.
Absolutely. You've got this
things.
stretch energy code now that applies.
Right.
So you want it to be energy efficient. And yes, you absolutely have to make it ADA compliant.
And you have to do all the site work too,
right.
even for you to know what we can do at near that facility there and what we can do at Finn, et cetera. So
That's right.
interesting.
That's right.
Yeah,
That's
very
right.
good.
So we're in no different position than other
Right.
towns around us as far as just people thinking taxes are too high. Everyone, it's a combination of things. The inflation during COVID hasn't helped, right? That's here. Even though the rates slowed down, it's not gone down, right? It's just slowed down. So that slope has leveled out a little bit, but you're still way up there as far as what the costs are now compared to what they were 5 years ago. So, for those that think, you hear it's like we love to spend money. No, we don't. We're all very
Right.
conservative. We would
Right.
love. We're paying the taxes too.
Right.
So we would love, but you've got fixed costs. So the town's budget is really people. That is 90% of our budget
Right.
is paying salaries. So you go to small departments. Take the senior center, right?
Right.
You've got basically 3 people.
Three
right?
people, right.
So which one do you want to give up?
I know.
Right? You don't, right? You go to the library. You think the library wants to give up one of those?
Right.
No. Go to Youth and Family Services.
Yeah.
3 people.
Right.
So it's not like we have gone on this hiring binge. We've got
Right.
very small departments, and each person is really key. How
Yeah.
do you get rid of a third of a department and still be able to function? Schools, every year they have cut people, but the town wants. We've got a very good school system. They want
Right.
small class sizes. They
Yeah.
like that low teacher to
Yeah.
pupil ratio. So if you're really going to try to take money out of this budget, you got to cut people. And there's just, as far as I know, not a great appetite for doing that.
Right.
So we're not adding any new people in this
People.
budget. There's going to be no new hours proposed in this budget. Doesn't mean someone won't stand up on town meeting floor and say, let's add this.
Yeah.
But we, select board and advisory,
Okay.
have agreed we are not going to bring a budget forth with any new hours at all. Now, there's a lot of people disappointed in that.
Right.
There's some people that really thought we should add
Yeah.
things, but we're not going to because that's where the
That's where-
money is.
yeah.
So we're doing our best to hold it. But even with that, we've got
It's-
a very bad looking, so far, year-over-year increase.
Uh-oh, yeah,
So-
well, you have your work cut out for you, I
Yeah,
guess.
well, you've got contractual increases. Are you
Right.
supposed to give someone no raise? That
Right.
means that they
Right.
lost money, right? Because they've got inflation. So we're giving small raises.
Mm-hmm.
You've got the union contracts you have to abide by. Most of our employees are under union
Mm-hmm.
contracts, right? There's very few people that are not on union contracts,
Mm-hmm.
so you've got to do what they say. And it's just a big number.
Yeah,
There's not a lot of new growth to absorb it. The states the state gives us money, but their increase every year is really small. It's like 1%, so they don't
Right.
keep up with inflation.
Right.
So that means we got to use more tax money to make up for what they don't do. So there's just a lot of things that make it hard to quote unquote balance the budget.
Yeah. Is there anything you can tell us about the new assessments that are going on, speaking about taxes? In terms of how are we progressing along? What's the deadline for those? Do you know? Or
Well, the assessments are always dated January 1st, right?
Okay.
So the assessment you just got, which is reflected for the first time in your February 1st bill, right? So remember, you pay taxes 4 times a year, right?
Right.
August 1st, November 1st, February 1st, May 1st. The first 2 bills you pay are just estimates. They don't.
Okay.
The assessor's office does not have the final tax rate nor the final valuation finalized, right? He doesn't do that till November or so.
Okay.
So it's your Q3 bill that you just got in the mail this past week that finally reflects the final valuation, the final tax rate, which is 14.36 or 1.436% of the value of your property. So you just got those, right? Now, people don't understand that it is both components that determine your taxes. It's not just your valuation. You've got to understand the tax rate. And even if your property doubled, as long as everybody else's property doubled, then you still pay no more taxes than you did before. So it's how you stack up relative to your neighbors that determines if you really have a extraordinary increase as far as your tax bill goes. So it's not really the value that you need to worry about. You want your values to go up. You want your house to be worth more each year, right? But what determines the tax bill is the tax rate that gets set, and then how you look relative to your neighbors, right?
Okay.
If you added something onto your property, the value's going to go up, right?
Okay. So they're new. The people are coming in now doing internal. The new assessors are going out to do internal assessments as well. Is that for the following year, or is it?
Yeah. So he's starting on next year. So he's got January 1st of 25 done. He's now starting to work on January 1st of 26.
Okay.
So all the businesses have to send him their income statements because he uses those to value businesses. So all the information's coming in right now. The period to request an abatement of your taxes for fiscal year 26 is right now. That you just got your bill, so you've got so many days to follow that. If someone doesn't agree with the valuation. So there's always a pot of money set aside by the assessor for abatements that he actually approves. Okay, so it's called an overlay. So he's got money set aside for that in case there's an abatement that comes in or abatement request and he approves it. So that's going on right now too. So now they're starting to work on the valuations for 1/1/26.
Okay, good to know. Okay. So if people, again, I encourage people to attend some of these meetings. They're all on Zoom.
Absolutely.
You can attend on Zoom. You can go in person to the select board meeting in the town hall at any time, and you can make comments. They usually do it at the beginning of the meeting, correct?
Well, you can make comments 2 ways.
Okay.
If you want to talk about something unrelated to that night's agenda, you can do it at the front or at the end of the meeting.
Okay.
And we don't reply because it's not on the agenda, so we can't discuss it.
Right.
But it doesn't mean we don't listen to you.
Right.
And then whatever you say, if it's something we need to talk about later, we will. But it won't be a back and forth at that meeting.
But
if you want to talk about something on the agenda, different story.
Right.
You come and you go to the microphone, and then we talk to you because it's on the agenda.
Right. Okay. And so that's important to know. So if you have some thoughts, everybody wants to get feedback of what people are thinking. That's what that's how we operate as a town. So if you really have some feedback and you want to get your thinking out there, go to the meetings. So.
And let me add this too. If you don't like to get in public and talk, our emails are easy, right? kcook@southboroughma.gov. Everybody has the same format.
Right.
So email us.
Okay.
Or we also, Select Board has monthly office hours that we do on a Tuesday, one of the Tuesdays we don't meet, at 6 o'clock for an hour. And I can say those are very poorly attended. I wish more people would come. So
we'll put that on an end slide so people can see and remember that.
That's a chance to meet with some, there's 2 people that do it from the Select Board, so we don't have a quorum.
Okay.
But that's a chance to talk privately to 2 Select Board members in person.
Perfect.
So we've got that too. So we try to be available, happy to talk on the phone, whatever anybody wants to do. So there's many ways to reach a particular Select Board member if you really want to talk about something privately.
That's good to know.
Okay.
Thank you for being here,
Well,
and thank you for giving us all this good information.
Well, thank you for doing what you do too.
You're welcome. We're I'm going to attempt to have somebody from the select board sort of at the beginning of each quarter, so we have a really good understanding close up of what things are going on, so people can really respond. And again, thank you for watching us. Watch out, I'm going to put some information at the end of this slide where you can also contact me. I'm available. I'm the chairperson of the Council on Aging. If you haven't been to the Senior Center before, you'd like to come, I'm happy to give you an introduction to the people there, show you around. We're doing a lot of new things coming up. We have a lot on our plate with only 3 people, but we depend a lot on volunteers. If you're interested in volunteering, feel free to contact me. I'll have my email there as well. And thank you, and we'll see you, or you'll see me next time. Thanks.